in one of the most remote Christian majority countries on earth, where church bells are heard far more often than the Islamic call to prayer. Something unexpected was happening. Quietly, secretly. People were accepting Islam, but this wasn't just a story about changing religion. It was a story about fear, identity and family pressure, and standing against society itself. And the most shocking part? Islam in Papua New Guinea did not arrive through massive Arab armies or famous Islamic empires. It began with questions. Questions asked by ordinary local people searching for meaning in a rapidly changing world. So how did Islam reach one of the most isolated places on earth? And what happened to the people who chose to become Muslim there? Today on Fact Finder, we uncover the hidden story of Muslims in Papua New Guinea. About Papua New Guinea. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Papua New Guinea, often called PNG, is one of the most culturally diverse countries in the world. Located in the Pacific Ocean region, this country is filled with dense jungles, remote mountains, isolated tribes, and ancient traditions that still survive today. The overwhelming majority of the population follows Christianity, while many local tribal beliefs remain deeply connected to everyday life. But hidden inside this distant land, a small and growing Muslim community has slowly emerged, and very few people around the world even know it exists. How Islam arrived. Islam officially began gaining recognition in Papua New Guinea during the early 1980s. According to several reports, the government formally recognized Islam in 1982. Soon after that, in 1983, the country's first Islamic society was established. At first, the number of Muslims was extremely small. You could count them on your fingers. But slowly, year after year, local people started accepting Islam. And that's what makes this story unique. This was not mainly a story of foreign immigrants bringing Islam into the country. This was a movement that began from inside the local population itself. Why people accepted Islam. Now the big question is, why would people from a completely different culture and religious background become interested in Islam? Interviews and local reports reveal something very interesting. For many people, Islam offered structure, discipline, and purpose. Some were attracted by the strong family values in Islam. Others admired the prohibition of alcohol and harmful social habits. In communities struggling with identity, social problems, and rapid modernization, Islam appeared to many as a complete way of life rather than just a religion. And there was another surprising reason. Some local people felt that Islamic values matched certain parts of their own Melanesian traditions, especially respect for elders, strong family systems, and community responsibility. Because of this, many converts felt they could remain connected to their culture while embracing Islam. And that balance became one of the most fascinating parts of Papua New Guinea's Muslim story. The growth of the Muslim community. During the 1980s, only a handful of Muslims lived in the country. By the 1990s, the number had grown into the hundreds. After the year 2000, the Muslim population increased even more. Today, estimates vary. Some reports suggest there are several thousand Muslims in Papua New Guinea, while others place the number closer to 10,000. But the most important detail is this. Most of that growth came from local Papua New Guineans accepting Islam, not from large-scale immigration. Mosques and Islamic centers slowly began appearing in different regions, from Port Moresby to remote highland communities. Islam was spreading quietly, but steadily. Challenges and fear. But wherever change happens, resistance also appears. Papua New Guinea is a deeply Christian society. Because of that, Islam was often viewed with suspicion. Some people saw it as a foreign religion. Others connected it to global terrorism, narratives they had seen in international media, and some feared Islam could threaten their national identity. As a result, Many Muslims face discrimination, misunderstandings, and social pressure. Some converts were criticized by relatives. Others felt isolated inside their own communities. And this is where the story becomes emotional. For many people in Papua New Guinea, becoming Muslim wasn't just a spiritual decision. It meant risking friendships, family ties, and sometimes even social acceptance. Life as a Muslim in PNG. But despite these struggles, the Muslim community survived, and over time, they created their own unique Islamic identity. Most Muslims in Papua New Guinea do not completely separate themselves from local culture. Instead, many try to practice Islam while still respecting their tribal traditions and family responsibilities. That's why Islam in Papua New Guinea looks different from what many people may expect. It is deeply local, deeply connected to the people, and deeply tied to the country's own cultural identity. But life still isn't easy. Some Muslims say they are still viewed with suspicion. Others feel constantly forced to explain their religion to people who know very little about Islam. Being Muslim there is not just about praying or fasting. Sometimes it becomes a daily social struggle. Education and outside influence. As the community grew, some young Muslims were sent abroad to study Islam in countries like Saudi Arabia, Malaysia, and Indonesia. These students later returned home with more Islamic knowledge and helped strengthen local Islamic institutions. New teachers, scholars, and community leaders began emerging. But this also created a new question. Would foreign Islamic education clash with local traditions? Or would it help strengthen the Muslim identity of Papua New Guinea even more? That debate still continues today. The hidden reality. When the world talks about Muslims living in non-Muslim countries, attention usually goes to large communities in Europe or America. But places like Papua New Guinea remind us of something important. Some of the most powerful Muslim stories exist in places almost nobody talks about. Hidden deep inside forests and mountains, far away from global attention. Small communities are quietly trying to protect their faith. Their adhan may not be heard by the world, but their faith continues to survive. And perhaps that is what makes their story so powerful. Today, Muslims in Papua New Guinea remain a tiny minority, but their story is bigger than numbers. It is a story of identity. A story of courage, a story of faith surviving in isolation, and a reminder that Islam can exist even in the most unexpected corners of the earth. This is the hidden story of the Muslims of Papua New Guinea, and maybe one of the most overlooked Muslim communities in the world. If you enjoyed this documentary, make sure to like the video, subscribe to Fact Finder, and turn on notifications for more hidden stories from around the world. And comment below. Islam is alive everywhere.